In this video, I'll show you how to find the rule of a linear function when 2 points on the line are known. Before we go any further, let's review the rule of a linear function. The equation of a linear function is y equals ax plus b. Parameter a is the rate of change, also known as the slope. Parameter b is the y-intercept, also referred to as the initial value. This is the point where the line intersects the y-axis. To find the rule of a line, we need to find the values of a and b. In this case, we need to use the coordinates xy of 2 points that are directly on the line to figure it out. Start by calculating the rate of change using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. x1 and y1 are the coordinates of the first point, and x2 and y2 are the coordinates of the second point. You don't have to choose the first and second points in any particular order because the answer will be the same either way. Then replace the letter a in the equation with the answer from step 1. Continue by choosing one of the points and replacing x and y with its coordinates. It doesn't matter which point you choose, since they are both on the same line. Then isolate b and write the equation of the line of the form y equals ax plus b using the a and b values you've just found. Here's an example. Let's find the rule of a line that passes through the points 2, 3, and -6, -1. First, we calculate parameter a using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. x1 and y1 are the coordinates of the first point. We'll use 2, 3. So the coordinates -6, -1 become the second point, or x2 and y2. We plug these points into the formula and get a equals -1 minus 3 divided by -6 minus 2. Be careful here because there are multiple negative signs. Applying the law of signs, we get a equals -4 over -8. We then reduce the fraction to a equals 1/2 or 0.5. In the rule y equals ax plus b, replace a with 0.5 to get y equals 0.5x plus b. Now, replace x and y with the coordinates of either of the points. Let's take 2, 3. The result is 3 equals 0.5 times 2 plus b. We isolate b. 0.5 times 2 is 1. Cancel out the 1 by subtracting 1 from both sides of the equation. This leaves us with b equals 2. The equation of the line that passes through the points 2, 3, and -6, -1 is y equals 0.5x plus 2. Let's now do an example of a case where the points are not clearly stated. For example, you may be asked to find the equation of a line that is graphed on a Cartesian plane like this one. Using the 2-point method, we need to find 2 points that belong to the function. We have a few different choices. We always use easily identifiable points that can be precisely read from the graph. We want to avoid fractions or decimal numbers. Here, the 3 points to remember are -6, 5, -3, 3, or 0, 1. We need to choose 2 of them in order to calculate the slope. Since we know we'll get the same answer no matter what combination of points we choose, let's take -6, 5 and -3, 3. We'll use 0, 1 a little later. To find the rule y equals ax plus b of this line, start by calculating the rate of change, or the slope. We clearly identify x1, y1, and x2, y2 on the respective points and apply the formula. Like I mentioned earlier, the order doesn't matter. You could choose the point -6, 5 for x2, y2, and the point -3, 3 for x1, y1, or vice versa. Either way, you'll get the same answer. Let's calculate the slope. You can see that there are 2 negative signs placed one after the other. There is already a minus in the formula. And x1 is negative, so it's -6. It's important to take the time to write both the minus and negative signs since subtracting a negative is the same as an addition. We calculate the slope and get a equals -2/3. Plugging this answer into the rule gives y equals -2/3 x plus b. After calculating a, we need to find b. Let's stop for a second and return to the original graph. As I mentioned earlier, b is the y-intercept. Here, its value is 1, since 1 is where the line intersects the y-axis. So we can deduce that b equals 1, and the equation is y equals -2/3 x plus 1. This saves us from having to isolate b. On the other hand, if you didn't notice this point initially, or if it didn't seem to land exactly on a point, that's okay. You can also find b in the same way as the first example. Let's try doing it this way too. Replace x and y with a point. Let's take -3, 3. The rule becomes 3 equals -2/3 times -3 plus b. So we isolate b. -2/3 times -3 equals 2. Solve the equation, and we get b equals 1. By replacing a with -2/3 and b with 1, the rule becomes y equals -2/3 x plus 1. We can take a few minutes to verify that the rule we found makes sense from the graph. The line intersects the y-axis at 1, so the b value we found is correct. The line is also decreasing. This means the rate of change must be negative, which is also the case. Going back to the original graph is a good trick to validate the rule. When you want to find the rule of a linear function, it is important to have 2 points that belong to the line. For example, you could use a table of values like this. This table of values shows the points that belong to the line, or in other words, points through which the line passes. To find its rule, choose 2 of them and use the same process we did in the previous examples. You could choose the points -2, -3, and 1, 4.5. I personally like to use integers, since they are whole numbers. So I'd pick -2, -3, and 2, 7, and continue the rest of the steps using those 2 points. Hopefully this video helped you better understand how to find the rule of a linear function. Whether it's from a word problem, a graph, or a table of values, you always need to find 2 points to find the rule of a linear function. If you'd like to know what to do when you already know the slope, and you have 1 point, we also have a video to explain that.